Shukri Dies joins us to discuss this further. Shukri, thanks for your time tonight. Firstly, let's talk about where you think part of this problem started, especially in relation to that video that was taken by an officer which we saw going viral.
Thank you very much. Automatically, to start on the escalation of this process or this problem or starting of these problems, whether it's the root cause caused by business people or it is community actions, but according to our understandings as the representative of Somali Association of South Africa, the problem started when opposition parties has overloaded their political views to foreigners, saying that foreigners are taking jobs, foreigners are doing this, foreigners are doing this. Starting from the DA budget plan day, the heavyweight opposition leaders has highlighted their political views to foreigners. Later on, there was a new parties that talk about foreigners should leave the country due to ABCD reason that they have mentioned, of which it's not valid to my personal understandings. Later on, there was escalations of social medias showing that the foreigners are selling, especially Somalis are selling fake products to the local South Africans and doing this and this and this. To our capacity as Somali Association of South Africa, we condemn the opposition parties who have overflowed their political views to the foreigners, of which it was not a reasonable grounds. That's number one. Number two, the government side has not taken their special parts to verify whether this social media escalated to the communities is true or not. That is the special task supposed to be taken by the governments. They're supposed to verify whether the product is sold by Somalians or whether the product is sold by individuals. They're supposed to verify that the product is sold by who. And when it confirms that the product is sold by individuals, then it's supposed to be apprehended and dealt according to the law as an individual who are selling the products, if it is true. But our concern is that as a Somali Association of South Africa, we blame both sides, political sides, political parties, and also government sides who has failed to do so. When the community take their own action on their hands, then it is too late for government to do something. We especially condemn the issues that escalated on the social medias. The special task made by the government anti-xenophobic systems was not done well, was not do their effort well. To the root cause of these problems, we cannot say it is start now because xenophobic is something usual to South Africa, especially foreigners in the countries. The most victims of xenophobic attack in South Africa is Somali community, who are somehow, we can say is innocent, because nobody say that from the government level, we cannot say that we didn't see, we didn't been attended, we didn't been shown. There's no any engagement made by the government saying that Mr. So-and-so or this community in large has dealt with this issue with the proofs. So we cannot condemn the Somali community selling these things without proof. In any way, the government has failed their position in parts, and we always remain the victim of xenophobic as Somali community. We are very much concerned as a Somali Association of South Africa at this time.
Shukri, there are two things that...
On the other hand...
Shukri, there are two things I want you to answer me on. You've brought out the name of the DA as being one of the parties who you think has added to the negative feelings towards foreign people who are in South Africa. Firstly, who in the DA are you blaming for that? And when you say opposition parties, is it just the DA, or do you feel that there are other opposition parties? And can you name the parties and the individuals who you say have contributed to the problem that you're facing today?
Specifically, I didn't say on DA or DA members have done this, but the day that the budget of DA was being raised and addressed, the heavyweight opposition parties like Mosewa Lekota was talking about and speak about more in foreigners in the country, and also urge foreign to be in camp while South Africa are an incumbent country. That's number one. Number two, later on, the new party formed, I'm not sure with the names, condemned that the refugees are taking their jobs, the refugees should be dealt with. They also lamberted refugees as criminals in the country. Those were the people who, opposition parties who mentioned specifically refugees and foreigners in South Africa. But it came to when the DA budget was being announced and DA budget was being reading.
Do you think that what is happening to specifically foreign-owned shop owners, do you see that as being xenophobic violence? Because you have brought up the word xenophobia quite a number of times in this interview.
Automatically it's xenophobic because it didn't happen to one person individually, or it has not been identified that so and so, or this business is the business that dealt with the fake staffs, and the business who was dealing fake staff was being taken action, whether it is a government or whether it's a community. It is a number of Somali shops has been looted in Soweto, and many threats has been given to the community. That is why I'm pushing this thing to xenophobic attack, of which it is always level to the communities as all. Secondly, to add on it that we can call xenophobic because the looting of Somali shops and vandalizing properties of Somalis business is usual and happen to in large community, not in individuals, whilst the others are not been suffering, for example, local community somehow, sometimes. That's why this thing is coming to xenophobics. The social media has escalated into the medias. The messages escalated into the medias was showing foreign hatreds. It was being given also a date that foreign will going to be out of the country. They're going to be cleaned from the countries. So we can say this thing is xenophobic due to these reasons. We are also blaming government action against this thing. Why? This thing was going almost 2 months before, while this thing was being socialized as a social media. Third things that I'm pointing is that there is a fake brands that has been mentioned, while the fake brands belong to companies who are doing business in the countries. Somali community is 90% business people in South Africa. They are doing their own livelihood, struggling with livelihood. The number plates and the issues of fake document or fake staffs was being mentioned several times in the interview or in the social medias. But the brand belong to companies. Where is the companies who are manufacturing these brands? Have they testified that their staff was being faked by so and so or this community? Who can prove that Somali community has got factories who are manufacturing fake stuffs? We have seen a number of other nations in the social media have escalated while they are not Somalians and the name is Somalians. Government has taken less action regarding to these things. No. Somali is not, nobody will be ever for refugee in life. Somali will be in South Africa for the time being, and this thing will be going to be accountable for future if all goes well.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight. And I think you've certainly highlighted the plight that many of the Somali business owners are facing, and some crucial questions there for a government to also answer. Somali Association of Africa Chairperson Shukri Dies.